Hey everyone, Scott with the Scottman, and we are here to do a driving video today. This is the first one I've done in quite a few weeks, I'd say, unless I decide to upload out of order, where this is not in Texas. We are just in the northeastern part of Indianapolis, Indiana right now, and we're doing a driving video on I-69 today from I-465, and we're head up to kind of just south of Anderson, Indiana. It is a pretty nice morning, although a little chilly, especially compared to me since I just came back from Houston. But yeah, it's mostly cloudy or partly sunny out, and it is, my current thermometer is reading 35 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 2 degrees Celsius, so it is cold out. And I think it's a little breezy out too, so it makes it feel colder. But at least the sun's out. So right now I just got done with the trip down in Houston, where I've filmed quite a bit of videos down there, including a driving video, or a few driving videos down there. And so right now we're on I-69. So I-69 is currently in the process of being extended from Indiana and Michigan, going all the way down to the border with Mexico, although it's going to branch off into 3 separate freeways down in South Texas, like things starting in Victoria and then heading south from there. But until they started this whole I-69 expansion, I-69 only went from Port Huron, Michigan, where it crossed over the border into Canada, all the way down to where we started this video. And I've even been filming some of I-69 in Michigan. I think there's one more stretch in Michigan I have to film. So I figure, why not cover this? So right now we're getting into the Fishers, Indiana area, which is one of the northeastern suburbs of Indianapolis. We're kind of to the east of Carmel, Indiana, which is more due north of Indianapolis. But as you can tell, this is quite a busy area. So you got a lot of hotels, a lot of restaurants, stores, department stores, you name it. So yeah, but anyway, I'm currently on my way home to Michigan right now. This is basically the last video I'm filming for this road trip. So I figure in this video also we'll talk about the trip in general too. And it works out very well because, yeah, down in the Houston area along Highway 59, it's now also being called, it's also I-69 down there because, yeah, as I was saying, I-69 is being expanded all the way down to Mexico, and the freeway portion of 59 down in Houston is now I-69 as well. Although I did not get a chance to do a driving video on 59/I-69 down there, just because never really, or for where I was going, I did not really get a chance to drive on that freeway going through downtown Houston. The one opportunity I did get, the traffic was too terrible, so I ended up having to go around on one of the tollways going around the city. So back to that in a second, but yeah, for some of the more local exits here in the Fishers area, it's like you get these local lanes off to the right here. Although it's more for Route 37 instead, but you can still get, well, of course you get some of the local exits too, but if you were to accidentally go onto that, but you meant to continue north on I-69 going north toward Fort Wayne, you can easily get back on. So it's not like you have to completely get off and have to do a complete detour. But yeah, I've been down in Texas for about a couple weeks. So I went down right after Christmas, where like like the first week I got to basically see a bunch of family. When I first went down to Victoria, Texas, I got to see my cousin Lauren, who I hadn't seen in almost 3 years, thanks to the pandemic. So it was really great getting to see her. She moved from Colorado to Texas for work-related reasons. I think it was in sometime in 2018. Matter of fact, while I was down there, my aunt who lives in Colorado was even down visiting her as well, and so I was able to get to see her as well too. So I got to, of course, visit with them, and then we also even did a little day trip to Goliad, Texas as well, because that was only like maybe a half hour away from Victoria. So I got to check out Goliad, and then after that, then it was time for me to head back up to Houston, because I have an aunt who lives up there on my dad's side of the family, where Lauren and my other aunt, who I saw earlier in that week, they're on my mom's side of the family. So I got to see my other aunt and another cousin of mine who's her son, and also my last living grandparent. My grandmother has a really bad dementia that's gotten worse in the past couple of years. And she lives with my aunt, so my aunt takes care of her full time. Which, in my opinion, I think that's really helped her out, because I think if she would have been in a facility, especially during the pandemic, she probably would have, I'm sure she would have deteriorated much, much more. But, like, yeah, when I was going down to, of course, see them, my aunt and also my dad they were both warning me that there is a good possibility that my grandma may not remember me, but believe it or not, she still remembered me very, very well. And yes, there was not one time where she was asking who I was or who I am. Yeah, that was really touching. It was really great getting to see them. And of course, while I was down there too, I did quite a bit of sightseeing around Houston, because there were some different videos of Houston I needed to basically update, because I filmed some videos down there in 2018, which they were good, but they need to be improved on. So I went ahead and did that while I was down there. And then one thing I didn't get to do the last time I went down there a few years ago, what I did this time was I did get to go to the Space Center Houston, which is basically like it's a part of the Johnson Space Center, but it's for all the visitors. It's pretty cool to get all these different exhibits for all the different, like, all the missions that have taken place in the past, and about things going on that they're planning for the future, such as going back to the moon, or playing like eventual missions to Mars, like manned missions to Mars. Like, so that was really cool. But also do like one of the tram tours, which both tram tours take you to the Johnson Space Center.
There's a speed trap ahead.
And then basically what happens with that is that I did one of the two where it takes you over to, well, the Johnson Space Center for one, but we did an actual tour inside Mission Control. Well, but mainly got to see the mission control that they used during the Apollo mission. So it's like, so I got to see the actual mission control that NASA used, like or during the Apollo 11 mission, when we landed on the moon for the very first time back in 1969. And of course, have actual audio recordings of NASA back during then, when the Eagle officially landed on the moon, and then of course when Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin walked on the moon. And of course, you would hear the line, it's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind, what Neil Armstrong said. So that was really cool. I didn't get the chance to go to the Space Center a few years ago because I didn't really have the time, but I did get to go this time, which I'm really glad I did. And I even did a day trip down to Galveston as well, too, because I hadn't been to Galveston in over 25 years. There's a little fun fact. Oh, maybe before I get back to that, yeah, it's like now we're starting to get out of the outskirts of the Indianapolis area. Oops, I'm sorry about that, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, now we're getting out into the farm country here. There's not a ton. I think there's maybe some very small development, but nothing major between here and Anderson. So yeah, you can see some different homes way off to the right. And yeah, this exit's, yeah, for like a Maple, Indiana, which that's off to the north. There's a small town, yet a lot smaller compared to even Anderson coming up. All right, so anyway, getting back to what I was talking about. So I got to go to Galveston because what I was trying to say is I was born and raised in Michigan, and I've lived in Michigan almost all my life, but for 4 years, and of course, yeah, for my regular followers who've watched all my different videos, this is definitely a repeat for you, but in case you're watching this for the very first time, I lived in Houston, Texas from when I was 5 years old, or just about 5 years old, till just before my 9th birthday. So because of that, of course, I got to go to Galveston quite a bit. But I hadn't been back down to Galveston since I lived down there. So it was really great getting to check out downtown Galveston, seeing like the Railroad Museum, checking out all the beautiful historic mansions, and of course, go over to the seawall and check out the Gulf of Mexico. Although the day I went there, it was very chilly. It was like low 50s with a little bit of a breeze, so it was a little cold. That's all right. It was still nice. And then after that, of course, in that second week, as we were going the second week, I had to start back with work again, but we don't have to report back to the office again till tomorrow. Because yeah, we were able to have 3 weeks off. Well, not off completely, but be able to work remotely for 3 weeks. The 2 weeks before Christmas, and then the week, or this past week. So it's like, might as well stay down in Houston for an extra week while it's nice and warm. Because yeah, let's just say, back in Michigan this past week, there was probably the biggest snowfall that we had so far this season, but they were forecasting it that way. I think we ended up getting like 3 to 4 inches of snow, which by Michigan standards, it's a moderate snowstorm, nothing crazy or anything. But then it got really, really cold to where temperatures were, they didn't even get out of the teens for like 2 or 3 days or something. We're down in Houston, I think on Wednesday, it got up to at least the low 70s, so I was spoiled rotten while I was down there. And not only that too, but the weather was fantastic. The first week it was like low 80s, which is almost record breaking for Houston in or around the holidays. But not only that too, but it hardly rained down there too. Although it's like, the funny thing is, they're calling for a lot of rain down there yesterday, just after I left. So I timed things very well. So I pretty much saw sunshine every day, it's like I got to work remotely out of my hotel. So I got to do that for most of the day, and then of course I had a couple hours of daylight after where I got to go off and do other sightseeing and also check out my old areas where I used to live. Which, yeah, was really, really nice to do that. And now it's day two of driving back. Because, yeah, yesterday I drove from Spring, Texas, which is the northern parts of Houston, and went all the way up to Marion, Illinois. That's where I spent the night last night. Now, of course, I'm driving back to the Metro Detroit area today. Yep, no snow on the ground over here, as you can tell. Although, as I get closer to Michigan, that's going to totally change, because I know there's at least a few inches of snow on the ground in southeast Michigan. So I'll be curious where the snow line ends up being, if it's going to be in Indiana or northwest Ohio, or not till I get north of Toledo. We'll find out, though. But yeah, I think I got another several miles to go until I get to the south side of Anderson. But I'm only going to theirs because I need to get some lunch. So I do want to stop south of Anderson to get something to eat. And then from there, I think I just have to get gas one more time and then get home before it gets dark. This should be pretty easy to do, I would say. Yeah, we're starting to see exits for Anderson, but I don't think it's this exit that I want to get off at, or that I'm going to for this video. No, because, yeah, not many food options. So yeah, it's the next exit I'll be ending the video at. But yeah, as for I-69 videos, oh yeah, you got the Nestle factory out to the left. You got the gigantic Nesquik bunny off there to the left, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I don't think I've had Nesquik in a very, very long time. Not since I was a kid. So yeah, what's interesting about Anderson and of course access from I-69 is that yeah, there are three main exits for Anderson, which is off to the left of here. You got two exits to the south, but then what I-69 does is that it then curves to the north once you get southeast of Anderson, and then it continues more to the north, and then the third exit is off to the left, like to the west, and then you're also getting close up to the Muncie, Indiana area, which is where Ball State University is located. But yeah, it is nice that I think they expanded the freeway to make it, instead of 2 lanes, to 3 lanes, which I think it's up to the next exit where the left lane, I believe, ends. It just becomes a 2-lane freeway. They probably did that to accommodate more traffic coming from the Anderson area to go into Indianapolis. But yeah, as for other I-69 videos, yeah, there's still one more stretch in Michigan I gotta fill. Basically the stretch between I-94 and like the I-96 area, or the I-96 area to the west of Lansing. And then I almost should do some stretches in Indiana as well, especially in the northeastern part from Indianapolis as well. Just to, let's say, bridge the gap. I think if I were to do that in Indiana, obviously I'd have to do a lot more driving, because it's not as close to Michigan as, like, say, all the stretches in Michigan for obvious reasons, but there probably would have to be a couple stretches I have to film between Anderson and Fort Wayne, and then the stretch between Fort Wayne and the Indiana Toll Road up near Angola, Indiana, which is where I did the last I-69 video, going from the Indiana Toll Road all the way up to I-94 or near Marshall, Michigan. And starting to come up to the next exit. This one's gonna be a lot bigger and got a lot more food places. So I think I might stop at Culver's or something, which there's one at this upcoming exit. But this is the exit for Route 9, which, yeah, the exit for Route 9 South was back there, but there's another exit coming up here as well. So I'm going to need to get off here. So yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter than normal video, but that's okay. But yeah, I am hungry though, because I only had like a light breakfast. I just had like a bag of trail mix for breakfast, which is not much of a breakfast. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this video here on I-69 North, going from I-465 in the Indianapolis metro area, going all the way to Route 9 here in Anderson, Indiana. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to click that subscribe button to click along and join it for the adventure, and don't forget to click that notification bell so that way you know when a new video goes live. Well, thank you for watching, and this is Scott for the Scottman signing out.